Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to tell you exactly how to apply to any university here in Ghana as an international student, and we're going to start right now. So the first step in applying for any university is to actually do your research. So you want to go online, look for a couple of schools that are actually in Ghana that you are interested in, and make sure to check all of their websites. I am pretty sure that every single university here in Ghana, every single renowned university here in Ghana have a website available where you can get your details and stuff. So you want to check those schools website to see if they are open for admission, and once they're open for admission, you want to check their school's requirement for international students, and then you also want to check for their fees and if they have scholarships available for international students or not. So those are the little things you do when you're researching to actually apply to a university here, because those things are super important. They're like the base of actually going through with your admission or your application. Now that you've done your research, the next thing to do is to gather your documents for your application process. So when I talk about your documents, I'm talking about transcripts from your previous school. So if you're in a vocational school, another tertiary institution, or high school, or wherever it is, you're gonna need documents from those schools. So if you didn't complete, probably your school's gonna give you a letter of recommendation or proof that you did exist in that school. But if you actually did complete, then you're gonna need a diploma if you're doing a diploma program, or a high school diploma, or a certificate if you're actually doing a certificate program. And you're also gonna need transcripts for those documents that are available, because they want more in-depth details on how you actually got those certificates and diplomas or whatever it is. And the next thing you also want to provide is your national identification card. So probably your country might be a country that only use IDs or passport. You're gonna need to provide that, because you're gonna probably use it to apply for a visa if you're from a country that requires you to apply for a visa before coming to Ghana, or you're gonna eventually buy a plane ticket and you're gonna need your passport detail for those things. And the school needs some form of identification from you and by you to make sure that you're not fake or you're not being identified as someone else. Another thing is to get your birth certificate ready and to actually have a medical form, because some schools will eventually ask you for medical details and stuff like that. And just the basic and normal things you'll also need is a letter of recommendation, passport size photo, just so that you can have a school ID and to actually have those passport size photo on your admission form. So you need all of those things. Alright y'all, Future Sam here. I forgot to make this one, so let me just drop it and then leave and let Karen Sam do her thing. So some schools will require you to actually write an essay as a part of your application process. So some might tell you write about yourself, or some might tell you why you want to do this, or some might tell you if they accept you in a school and you graduate, what are you going to do. It all depends. They're going to tell you exactly what they want you to write. So keep that in mind. The next point I want to make is that in West Africa, we have two West African countries divisions, which is French-speaking West African country and English-speaking West African country. So if you're from an English-speaking West African country, you're gonna have to either submit a WASI or SHSCE result. And if you're from a French-speaking country, you're gonna have to submit your baccalaureate result. So another point is that if you are from a Western country like America or London or whatever it is, any Western country that considers SAT, TOEFL and stuff like that, sorry to say this, but they don't actually accept those results here. They don't take SAT, TOEFL, ACTs, IELTS, whatever it is. They would definitely specify what document you were supposed to get. So normally those type of international students are to contact the school. If you're from a Western country, you want to make sure you call the school or email the school or chat with them to make sure you get the actual documents that you're supposed to get. So now that you've done your research and you have gathered your documents for your application process, you want to fill in your application form for admission. So there are two ways to actually do that for a Ghana university. So you can actually do that in person. That is if and only if you're already in Ghana and you're doing something else and you decide to stay and you want to be a student here. But if you're outside, the best way to do that is to actually apply online, which is what I'm going to talk about. So to apply online, there is an application portal available on every school's website that you can apply through to get to the university. So the reason you're filling in this form is to give the school more in depth about who you are and why you're applying at this university. So when I talk about who you are, it's giving your identity, like how old are you, your full name. Now, let's talk about full name. A lot of people make this common mistake which shouldn't be done because it will take a huge toll on you if you do that. So here's what I'm talking about. Some people will have another name on their identification card and they will decide to choose another name to put on their application, which is very wrong. Make sure that all of your documents have the same name, because if you don't do that, if you're coming here for school, you're gonna get stopped by immigration. It's gonna take you long to actually have access to the country itself, because it's like there's so much going on. Let's say your government name is Winston Barr and on your application you put Raymond Barr or something like that. They're gonna tell you it's not your document. And sometimes people have the tendency to actually use their first and last name on their actual documents and take school for granted and probably maybe use your middle name and your last name. But it's not okay to do that if you're applying outside, like anywhere, even in your own country. It's better to have one name on all of your documents instead of like just getting your name here and there and everywhere. So your identification, your name, when you were born, your nationality, and all those little details. And when I talk about telling the school why you're applying, is literally writing out clearly your major, which time you're going to be available for this course. So there are actually full sections for universities here, and you have mature students, you have regular students, you have evening students, and you have weekend students. So you're going to tell the school which one of those times you're going to be available for your course that you want to offer at the school. I hope you got the whole clear message about the naming thing, because I've actually seen a lot of people make that mistake. The only time you can do that is if you have probably changed your family name, and you're going to make sure that you go to every single institution to make that correction on all of your documents. And if you're currently in the school, you're going to apply to actually change your name. You cannot just change your name at your own will and stuff like that. So be careful with how you fill in your application form. It's going to affect your entering into the country. Remember, probably you might be applying for a visa. Also keep those things in mind. So now you're filling your form, you've done your research, you've got everything. The next step to take is to submit your application. So submitting your application is just not submitting your application, because there are some things that come with submitting your application. One, you need to submit it with every single document necessary, like I said earlier. And two, you have to pay an application fees. There you go. So if you're doing that online, you're gonna find at the bottom of the pages, or probably the next page, the payment details. So probably you're gonna have the option to pay with a Master or Visa card. They'll either give you a banking detail to pay through, or if you want to pay in person. But the in-person payment doesn't make your form valid unless you pay the fees and you have a receipt. So it's most likely that if you're actually applying online, you need to have either a Visa card or a MasterCard, or some form of way to pay by a bank. But to say in person, then it's not necessary to actually go through the whole application process online, because if you don't pay in person or if you don't pay at all, your application is invalid until you pay for your application form. So best way to do that is to do an online banking by paying through a banking card, or paying directly through a bank. Once you pay your application fees, your application get accepted. Like I said, be sure to have every single document necessary submitted along with that form. So there you go. So my last and final step is waiting for admission. So when you're waiting for admission letters take up to a week or two, depending on the university you're actually applying to. So you're gonna have to wait around for a week or two. For me personally, I got my admission letter the same day I applied, because I did that in person. So, and I already lived here before actually deciding to go to the university I'm in right now. I also remember I did an experiment where I applied at a fashion institution here, and it took 3 days, and they were in contact with me. So when you get your admission and stuff like that, you get your admission letter where you're accepted, you want to actually accept your admission, and the way to do that is to actually let the school know that I am gonna come to your school. And the way to do that is to pay a down payment of your fees. So they will give you a figure of your whole school fees, how the whole payment thing is like, and stuff like that. So once you get that, you want to have your fees ready. And if you want to pay for, good. If you don't want to pay for, you're going to pay by installment. So they're going to tell you how much you're supposed to pay to actually confirm your admission, and it's part of your school fees. It's not anything different from the school fees. So that is just a way to accept your admission. And the fees you're gonna be paying for accepting is not refundable. So probably you accept the school's offer, you pay the down payment that you're supposed to pay, and later on you change your mind because you apply to multiple schools and your first choice of school accepts you. Keep in mind you're not getting those fees back or that fee back, because it's a down payment, it's an agreement. So it's not the school's fault that you actually change your mind. Alright guys, so this is the end of the video. I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and I hope it was a lot more informative and helpful with your application process, just in case you're trying to apply here. And don't forget to comment down below in the comment section contents that you want to see from me, and I will definitely do that. And thank you guys so much for watching this video. I love you guys. Stay true to yourself, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.